Hi, guys. Let me ask you, have you ever wondered why sometimes the ugliest, even older guys get the hottest women? Welcome to my live stream today entitled This Drives Ukrainian Women Nuts. My name is Jim Montano, and I am in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And I'd like to thank you for your investment of time to be here today. Before we get started, can I ask you to go vote in the poll we've set up in the top of the chat box? So, as iron sharpens iron, so men sharpen men. Now, what does that mean, and how does it apply to you guys? Men are naturally competitive with men in sports, and when the game is over, win or lose, they are better men because of their participation in that game. I'm sure most of you understand that, especially the ones that have been on teams and so forth. Even if you haven't played sports, there are times when you are at work or maybe, find a game that you're going to go play together, like golf. There's always that competition there. And there might be a little bit of friction or whatever, but at the end of the game, you're both better for playing the game and being competitive. So I invite you to think of the good men that poured into your life. Let me give you an example from my life. I remember my Uncle Bob, who taught everyone in the family how to swim in his pool. And he took the time and the patience to teach us. And for me, I still remember, all these years later, I still remember the way he did it. He was gentle. He was strong about it. He was very firm, but at the same time, he was very, very attentive. So I want you to think about, some of the guys in your life that were similar. Your father maybe did the same thing, maybe an uncle, maybe a friend of the family's. Just kind of get that in your mind right now. I also remember my Uncle Bill, who took me to his neighbor's house. This was a great time for me. His neighbor was the secretary of the National Antique Car Club of America at that time. And he let me drive that fully restored 1910 Cadillac when I was 11 years old. Again, I will never forget that. It was a very special moment. My uncle was there. I don't remember the fellow's name, but his neighbor was there. He was very, very, very friendly and very sharing. So these are aspects that I learned about how men can be and the value of it. And again, I was a better person for that experience. So the need men have for masculine companionship is real. It's never going to go away. And if you've never experienced it, I invite you to have that understanding that you do need companionship with good men. All of us who have played sports in high school or college understand the benefit of working together for a common goal. If you didn't play sports, but you maybe became a firefighter or you went into the military, certainly you understand the value of teamwork. You understand the value of men working together. Extremely important. If you climb a mountain by yourself, it's wonderful. If you climb a mountain with a group of men, it can be life-changing. So, let me ask you, where are you regarding your masculinity? In our respective cultures, we have norms about our masculinity that don't apply. For example, in my culture, things like big boys don't cry. It's not so much now, but when I was growing up, it was relatively prevalent. And unfortunately, it gave men, young boys at the time, of course, ideas that don't really work. And so later on, we still didn't understand, or I still didn't understand for sure, the lack of value of saying something like "big boys don't cry." When you're feeling emotions, you should feel your emotions. You don't have to hold on to them. However, you can feel them, be present, and then let them go. You don't have to go by, past emotions. And if you try this, if you give yourself a chance and you let emotions flow through you, you might start enjoying it, because it doesn't, if you cry or if you're feeling pain or hurt, it doesn't mean you're any less of a guy. It just means that you might be believing things that you don't need to believe about your masculinity. And then, of course, there's one of the older ones, which is real men don't eat quiche. That one is it's more like just being fun or having fun, or poking fun at quiche and so forth and so on. Meaning, men just eat hamburgers and so forth and so on. That one is a joke, but at the same time, there are the words that affect you, that stay in your mind. So you got to kind of forget about all that stuff, or just move away from it. And my favorite, of course, is if mama is not happy, no one is happy. That one is later on in life, and absolutely no value whatsoever. However, even if you don't believe it, lots of times if you hear it, it's going to affect you. So I want you to think about, what it is that you're believing. Chris Cardoza, how you doing, Chris? He says, very interesting. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ask yourself, do I have beliefs about my masculinity that are false? And right now, I'd like you to ask yourself, do you think, or do you believe things about your masculinity that are false? Just take a moment, kind of think about it, let it roll around in your head, and see if there's something there that is sort of limiting your ideas about your masculinity, or certainly limiting your behavior, which is much more important right now, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Reflect on your beliefs, that you may have, that we were given, that you have nothing to do with that has nothing to do with your masculinity. You never asked for these beliefs. As you were growing up, people just say things in your life, as you know, not just with your masculinity, but with all kinds of things. And we're going to focus, of course, on the masculinity part of it. Something simple like, "Oh, Juan Antonio, how are you?" Also, I think the perception is those men, for the most part, are considered narcissists. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that is an accurate assessment. I would agree with you. And the reason I agree with you is statements like that. Oh, excuse me. There are a small percentage of men who take care of themselves for other reasons. They are the exception and not the rule. And as you understand being more outward focused instead of inward focused, your narcissistic tendencies, not you, Juan, I'm just saying in general, if you have narcissistic tendencies, they will start to go away the more outward focused you are, because you're thinking more about the people around you. You're thinking more about people and their feelings, where they're at. And this is what true masculinity is, because masculinity is leadership too. Whether you want to be a leader or not, if it's just automatic for a man. You're going to be in a leadership position in some shape or form. For example, fathers, that's obvious. You're going to be a leader of the family. Or if you're at work, even if you're not a boss, you can be a leader by your example to your peers and subordinates, if you might be like a leader, a supervisor. And I'm sure you've all experienced this. So how do these false beliefs, hey, good morning, Chris. How do these false beliefs affect your behavior towards women? And this is more in depth. That we won't go as in depth as we could, but I want to touch on that just a little bit, and I invite your comments on this. True masculinity exudes confidence. If you are not confident when communicating with a woman, is it you or what you believe? So, as a person, as a human, you're going to be human being away. You're going to be you. However, if the culture you're in gives you ideas and beliefs that don't allow you to exude confidence, excuse me, then the behavior you show to the woman is going to confuse her. So basically, what I'm saying is let your yeses be yes and your nos be no. If anything is in between, or if there's a gray area there while you're interacting with your woman or any other people for that matter, confusion is the last thing you want. You want to be able to have people read you directly. There should be no doubt as to where you stand or how you feel or what you're thinking regarding the interaction or the relationship you have with whoever it is you're dealing with. So let's go to point number 3. For those of you who are taking notes, hopefully you're taking some notes anyway, and I hope you find this interesting. So the next thing is find a wingman. And what the heck is a wingman? All right. Fighter pilots always travel in pairs of 2. There's the lead pilot and there's the wingman. And the reason for this is they're constantly checking each other. They're constantly they're constantly looking at the surroundings. I'm sure you've heard the term situational awareness. Okay, situational awareness is not just for military; it's for you as well. You always want to be situationally aware, meaning that if you have someone who's you're accountable to and they are accountable to you, you're going to be covering each other's rear section. That's what a wingman does. And it's very important because not that you're going to have, your buddy with you when you go on a date. That's not what I'm talking about. As you are moving through life, as you are discovering things, as you are having relationships, you want to, hello, Bill, that you want to have, the media tries to reset and weaken your masculinity. Absolutely true. It's a program thing. And I'm not a, conspiracy theorist. Because when there are facts, you can't deny it. So the media definitely resets to weaken our masculinity. That's a whole nother topic, but I'm glad you're situationally aware of that. And this is a great example. It pans in right perfectly. Hocus Focus. There's a good name. How would the ladies feel about a pothead? Yes, he was responsible. If he was responsible and in great shape, I don't know. That's something you're going to have to ask the ladies. And defining pothead might be an interesting possibility, or might be a troublemaker for you too. So be careful with that one. So when I say find a wingman, what I'm saying is you want somebody that you can trust. So find a trusted friend who you could be accountable to. One that won't let you stay in your stuff, and he will be accountable to you. And when I say stay in your stuff, we all have our times as men when we look at life and we might get a little cynical. We might have, past behaviors that start to affect us and start to taint our future. If you have someone you're accountable to, if you have someone that knows you, and if you have someone you have regular conversations, and when I say regular conversations, it can be every day. It can be once a week. It could be once a month. Whatever you need to stay on track. And what I mean by stay on track is all of you have values that you go by. And you have masculine values and you have masculine traits. And so if you go past those or you go outside of those, you get out of balance. And the most important thing the wingman can do is bring you back into balance. I mean, the best bottles of wine, the best wine in the world is in perfect balance. So you don't, there's many flavors, but not one flavor is higher than the others. It's all nice and even. And that's the way men are too, or should be. You might consider it. You want to be, you want to be balanced. You want to be patient. You want to be loving. You want to be lovable. All of those things. And the more that you practice that and make it your behavior, the more it becomes part of who you are. And I guarantee you, the women in your life, not just your girl, but I mean all your mother, your sisters, your friends that are girls, they're all going to appreciate you much more, and they're going to open up to you more. And it's a much better situation than what we've been taught here, which is don't talk about certain subjects and so forth and so on. So again, a wingman, this is someone who knows you well enough, strong enough to stop you if you're kidding yourself. We're all capable of it, and we all do it on occasion. I'm not saying everybody does. However, there is a possibility that you might be kidding yourself. Good morning, Eric. And if that's the case, you're not going to know if you're kidding yourself. I mean, if you're doing that, how are you going to know you're kidding yourself? And Bill says, stronger to be in a pack than as a lone wolf. That's absolutely true. And I might add that in a wolf pack, the alpha wolf, the leader, is in the rear of the pack. He is overseeing the entire pack. That's a trait of masculinity as well. So, Oh, by the way, Deanna, we can put up the poll results. Did you guys all get a chance to vote on the poll? I hope. So then the two of you, you and your wingman, can find a group of men that you both can relate to. And this is really important because now we're moving from lone wolf to two lone wolves working together and making each other better, which is iron sharpens iron. Let's see. Okay, so here are the poll results. Do you have a community of healthy males and supportive friends to help you overcome challenges? Yes, 44%, and no, 56%. So roughly half of you don't have, thank you, Deanna, half of you don't have a community. And those of you that have a community, I invite you to stay with them. But there's other communities as well. And it doesn't hurt to have access to more than one healthy male community where it's truly just males. So now the two of you are going to go and find a community. It might be a church, it might be a sports team, or a community of men's groups. Okay, there's more that out there than you might think. There are forming more and more all the time. Doc Killjoy, good morning. Funny, I do have a pack of males that follow me for advice and how to address their life challenges, but I really don't need theirs. So it seems I'm alpha. That would be the case. Now, to help you stay a good alpha, you're going to want to find a community yourself. This never ends. A good leader, the first thing a good leader needs to do is how to follow. And Deanna, if you want to put up the second poll, that'd be great. Hey there. How you doing, Alan? I guess we are all lone wolves. Yeah, we can be. We can all be lone wolves. But none of us are here because we want to be lone wolves. We're here because we want to find a woman, right? So the best way to find a woman is to be the best man you can be. And the best man you can be is not by yourself, it's with other men. And Gregory says there are good wingmen out there, but there are those that say they're your wingman, but in reality, they want to be one crash and burn. You got to fly higher, buddy. You got to find somebody out there that you can fly higher with. But I understand that happens all the time. Those are actually lone wolves posing to be wingmen. So Juan says, finding a group of males with similar ideals is easier said than done. Absolutely. Most men my age in my area are married. Their time is occupied with family. I live in the sticks. So the beauty of the internet is that you can go on the sites such as the Mankind Project, and it's mankind.com. I highly recommend that because there are places that they have meetings that you can affiliate with men. Right now, there's a number of you who are watching, and we've created a community right here, whether we see it or not. So let's go back to the ideas here. There is a special dynamic that occurs when good men commune together and develop each other. And any of you, so there's roughly half of you that belong to a community. You understand what I'm saying. I don't. It's very difficult to explain because it's an energy thing, and it's the kind of thing where it has to be a group of men together, eye to eye, hearing each other and feeling the energy between men. It is a definite dynamic. It's just like any other group dynamic, but I think with men it's a little more special. There definitely is the sharpening. There's definitely areas where men are able to open up to other men and be able to ask questions. And so, I invite all of you who don't have a community to consider that and decide, okay, first of all, do I need a community? Which the answer is yes. And the reason I say that is we're all males. We're all the same in that area. Just like we eat, we need to eat, we need to have water. We all have the same needs. So the idea of male community is a very important one, especially in the area of masculinity. Because if you're not really sure about your masculinity or where you're at, if you're not absolutely certain, you're going to project that. And if you project that to, especially a Ukrainian woman, you're going to confuse her. And N says, masculinity, a part of leadership. Yes, it is. I would say that even if you're a female and you're a leader, as a female, you need to get into a little bit of your male energy. And the reason I say that is it's easier for a man to adjust to taking a risk than it is for a woman. And part of leadership is taking risks. Just ask anybody who's a leader. One of my favorite quotes from Mike Tyson is, everybody has a plan before their first punch. So after the first punch, you better be ready. You better be a leader. You better understand yourself. You better understand how to get in there and compete and box or fight or whatever it is. You're going to compete in the workforce. James, unfortunately, I've lost my best friends to health and society issues. It's sad reality. It is, but you don't have to stay there. And I'm certainly not trying to diminish your feelings about your friends. And I am very sorry that you have lost so many best friends. I understand that because I'm in that area as well. However, I encourage you even more now to join community of good masculine males. So Eric says, just turned 30 and I have a great group of guys to talk to. With that said, majority are rooted with beliefs in the Bible. That's a topic for another time. We could, if you guys want to, we could go into some of the ideas that the Bible presents. I will say this: if you're agnostic or whatever, there are still values in the Bible that will help you, whether you believe in God or not. Um, Bill says we have created an MGM community here. Yes, there you go. Thanks to your new format. Well, you can thank Joe for that too, because Joe and I worked on this together. So Alan says that's why I think match guarantee is very important, because we are with like-minded individual people that have one goal in mind, which is to get married to a beautiful Ukrainian lady. Absolutely, and amen to that. Yes. And for those of you that don't know, I'm not just a coach; I'm also a client. So I'm not just talking to you from a coach standpoint. I'm talking to you from, a man who does want to get married to a Ukrainian woman, for a whole bunch of reasons, not just the fact that they're, most of them are smoking hot, which is wonderful. There's a lot of good reasons. The intellect of the Slavic woman, I think, is one of the highest in the world. I've had here in the United States, I've had the fortune of being able to talk to, just for a side moment, to talk to a lot of Ukrainian women and Russian women as well. And I can tell you the traits are there. So, okay, now let's go to the topic, okay, or the title. How does this drive a Ukrainian woman nuts? Okay, let me just ask you a funny little question here. Before we go to what drives Ukrainian women nuts, ask yourself right now, would I want to date me? I know that sounds crazy. Of course, you're not, going to date yourself. Or if you were pretending to be a woman, would you want to date you? My point is this: when's the last time you looked yourself in the mirror and asked yourself, am I kidding myself with ideas I have, because they were put there by our cultures, our respective cultures. Whatever your beliefs are, whatever you use in your day-to-day behavior, your day-to-day community, your workplace, your friends and family, you may not see it, but they will see it. They may not know exactly what it is they're seeing. They just know whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask people, how did I do? And this is important, because when you go to meet for the first time, or any other time for that matter, once you start to date a Ukrainian woman, she's going to want you to be natural. She's going to want you to be real. And if you don't know how to be natural and real and with yourself, how are you going to be able to do that with somebody else? How are you going to project that with anybody else? And most importantly, with your future better half. And even for those of you who are talking to guys that are married, one of the comments earlier was most of my males in my world are married. You're going to want to talk to them and ask them questions like, okay, could I have done this better? There's nothing wrong with, thank you. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there and being a little vulnerable. Okay. Don't close your heart. Open your heart to these people that you can trust to give you, real evaluation. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do what they're asking. They may not even ask you to do something. They might just say, hey, you got a little something on your face here, that kind of thing. And then you can start working on that. And if it turns out to be something worthwhile, hey, you are a better person for that. And when you have men that do that with men, you're sharpening each other. You see, when you take sandpaper and you smooth out the wood becomes smooth, but the sandpaper starts to go away, right? It gets used up. When man sharpen man, there's no used up man. There's no, there's no two guys that wear each other out. They get better. They sharpen each other. They renew whatever it is that they decided to work on. I mean, and I'm digressing here a little bit. We're going to talk more about what Ukrainian women want, but there's things that you can do, like past relationships with guys that aren't so great right now. Take the first step. Take the lead position. Call that person up and say, "Hey, let's go get a beer, or let's get some coffee or something like that," and just have a nice conversation where you can start back on track. If it's a healthy relationship, and if it's not a healthy relationship and you want it to be, you're going to learn the tools you need to learn in a community of men that will bring you back to a good relationship. Maybe you've had, some of you have been kind of estranged from your father. And you don't want that anymore. You want to be able to have great relationship with him. So Abercrombie says, thankfully, I have a good support group from sports and other groups. However, they also taught me the significance of being myself and being okay with that, because sometimes you will be alone. Perfectly said. And that, what you're projecting here is exactly what I'm talking about, that comes out of community. That was an example, fellas, of what happens when you follow and whatever community it is, whether it's sports or church or whatever, and you work with guys. This is the healthiness that can come out of that, excuse me. Okay, so know that these ladies are keen on how you present yourself in mind, body, and spirit. So just be yourself. If there's something about you that you don't like, address it. Go after it. If there are fears you have, find out what they're bothering you, why they're bothering you. Again, you can bring those up to your wingman or your community in a public way, in a reassuring way. I'm not going to say a safe space, because we don't have those things. There's no such thing as a comfort zone when you're a leader. So all of you that are looking for comfort or looking for, a place to rest, forget about it. You're a leader. You're going to be challenged all the time. And Doc Killjoy says, agree, I've had mentors in my life, and now I look at myself also being a mentor for others, while openly sharing my mistakes. There it is right there. This is perfect. And how I recovered by claiming my errors. Absolutely. It's like anything else. I mean, you got to vacuum your car, because otherwise you're going to collect all kinds of stuff in there, right? You got to clean your clothes, otherwise they're going to start smelling bad. Your psyche, your mind, and your spirit are all the same thing. And the only way to do that is to have other men say, hey, by the way, you need to change your shirt, or when are you going to start wearing, some cologne or something like that? Or, you seem to pick up a little extra weight here. Okay. I know these are tough topics. I know that that's uncomfortable and all that kind of stuff. My reason for doing this is I want to see every one of you successful at finding yourself a beautiful Ukrainian lady. And there's no reason in the world at all whatsoever that not every one of you can do this. You're on a great site. Again, there's a lot of resource here that, as clients, and even those of you who are thinking about becoming clients, we put a lot of energy into helping you find the girl. And as long as you don't give up on yourself, we're not going to give up on you. And to help you not give up on yourself, you want to be part of a community. So uh, if you look at yourself physically and you're not fully happy with where you're at, for whatever reason, start with that. If in your spirit you're not feeling healthy, or you're not feeling like you want to share your energy, work on that. Bring that up. And of course, most importantly, if your mind is in a place where you have limiting beliefs, where you have concerns that aren't real, where you're going back all the time. How many of us, so many times in our daily lives, think back about past hurts or past problems and so forth? And even though they occurred maybe 10, 20, even 5 years ago, you dredge them back up, because what happens is your mind starts to think about that. And your body doesn't know what time it is. It doesn't know if it's in the present or if it's 10 years ago. And so when you bring those things up, you start tainting your future. Alan says, by teaching others, we teach ourselves. Iron sharpens iron. That's right. Or are taught by the others. We're always learning, guys. Just like we don't have comfort zones, we'll never stop learning. And if you stop learning, it means you know everything. So if you do, please let me know, because I've never met anybody that knows everything. I can't wait to learn. And you guys are teaching me today, right now. Your comments, which are fantastic, your participation, that teaches me. And I'm never going to stop learning. And I'm never going to go back to my comfort zones. Because once you leave them, excuse me, once you leave them, it's like anything else that, like, bad food for you. Once you finally get past packaged food, for example, you don't want to go back, because you feel so good and things are working for you. It's much better. So why would you go back? Okay. So say goodbye to your comfort zones. I'm not saying all of you guys have comfort zones. I'm saying look to see if you have comfort zones, because if you bring those along with you when you go to meet your lady, she's going to think that you're used to not learning all the time, that you're always looking for comfort, that you're always a couch potato, whatever. They're not going to want to deal with it. Nobody's going to really want to deal with that unless it's another couch potato. So you don't want that either. You want a woman that's going to challenge you. And these ladies do. They're going to give you the truth straight up. And let's be honest, that's much better than what we're used to, which is saying one thing and then they behave another way. And I'm not saying I live in the United States, of course. I'm not saying all American women do that, but a lot of them do. And that's why I'm here. Juan Antonio says, if you are expecting the best of results at the start of the gate of a potential relationship and made a half-assessed attempt, don't be surprised if it doesn't work out as you thought. Absolutely. Your mind, excuse me, controls your behavior. And if you take the time to look back at some of the biggest mistakes you've ever made, think about the mindset you had at that time. The mindset, the words, the way you perceive things, the beliefs you had, it's all about the mind and the mindset. Juan, that is 100% accurate. That's a whole complete another discussion, because mindset is affected by so many things. It's affected by when you're growing up, how the inputs from your influencers, it's affected by your response to the world. It's affected by your education, what you learned in school, all of that, all the people you interacted with, Along the way, you pick up things that are good, of course, but then there are things that you don't need. And somehow, some people use the term baggage, whatever. That's, call it whatever you want. It all falls under limiting beliefs. And right now, you're on a quest and you don't want any limitations. You want to go forward and you want to get what you want. Let's be honest. It's real simple. Alan says, think about good thoughts in your past as this is what you want in your life or better and in the future. Because how you think right now, today, is going to determine whether you bring the past forward or whether you create a new future. And I dare say that if you're stuck in the past, you're going to have a tough time pleasing any woman to be with. They're not going to want to be with you, whoever you go to see. Eric says, everyone has a different viewpoint of being alpha. However, there is a general baseline. Jim, what are some baseline ideals? One of the baseline ideals is you're a leader whether you want to be a leader or not. It's not about choice. It's about being a man. So you got to look at that. There's an ideal to look at, Well, excuse me. That's part of the baseline that you develop. Okay. Being honest is another part of your baseline, or authentic if you prefer, which is another ideal that Ukrainian women not only prefer it, but I think in some ways demand it from their men. Because you got to keep in mind, they've been lied to a lot, and they don't like it. And trust is another baseline, another part of your baseline. If you don't have trust, if you don't trust yourself, if you're lying to yourself, that's going to play through. Whether you see it or not doesn't matter. And again, this is why community is important. So as you develop that baseline, which is, Eric, I like that word. That's a very good point. You could also call it core values. You have core values. If you're a business person, if you own your own business and you haven't defined your core values, you're already in trouble. As a man, if you haven't defined your core values, you're in trouble regarding how you relate to other people in relationships, whether the relationships are healthy or not. So, again, be natural with her, be present, and be attentive. And that means, again, it has to start with you. Be natural with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself things, and don't believe things about your behavior that are not true. Okay. Be present. Learn how to meditate if you're not meditating now, and that will help show you how to be present. Present is really simple. It's just you just check in with yourself. Maybe the first thing you do in the morning, you get up and you just check in and you say, how am I feeling right now? It doesn't matter really how you're feeling. What matters is that you control how you play. You don't have control over a lot of things. The one thing you have full control of is how you approach life, what kind of attitude you're going to have that day or week or whatever, how you respond to how fate comes into your life. You can fight it. You can, problems that occur, you can fight them. But better idea, if you don't mind my saying, is when a problem comes into your life, create a better solution. If your lady has things that you don't like and she creates a problem in your life because of that, or while you're dating, don't fight her about it. Don't fight the problem. Create a better solution. You're the leader. You come up with the solutions. And by doing that, it disarms people, whether it's your lady or not. people that are giving you trouble in your life. It disarms them from continuing the fight. They have to step up too. And so you're both better for it. That's what leadership is about, you know, especially male leadership. You know, the worst thing you can do is if you're getting in an argument with the girl you're dating, because you're going to have them, the worst thing you can do is try to, fight her about it. She doesn't care about that. What she's interested in is, where is this going to go? She's not concerned about who's right or wrong. She wants to know where it's going to go. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to create a better solution, then she feels more accommodating to do that. So finally, it might feel a bit unusual being with a woman who actually respects men. I laugh because we are so programmed to doubt ourselves, so programmed to check our masculinity, our natural being. We are programmed to talk a certain way, Open a door for a woman, and what's her response? I can get it myself. Well, of course you can get it yourself. And I'm not trying to make a statement when I do that. I open doors for men too. It's a matter of being humble. And yet, lots of times in our respective cultures, it's not recognized that way for whatever reason. Who cares what the reason is? Again, create a better solution and keep opening those doors. Okay? Keep being attentive to women. Be more attentive to your lady. And most important, be more attentive to a Ukrainian woman. They will appreciate it and they will respond to it. They're different. It's a completely different culture. Do not bring, whatever you do not bring our impediments in our culture about men to them. It'll confuse them. And quite frankly, it'll probably turn them away from you. Again, use the resources you have here. Great bunch of coaches, if I may say so myself. And as a client, I'm saying this, by the way. So, can you put that back up? Sorry, Deanna. So Juan says, men cannot lead. That's absolutely true. Let your yeses be yes and your nos be no. We need to be competent. If we make an error, we have to take responsibility. Perfectly put. Learn from our mistakes and carry on. Don't blame others for our failures. Can't be said enough of. Right now, we are sharpening each other. As we are going through these comments, I know there are guys out there, that you guys out there are looking at Juan's comment. For example, men cannot lead willy-nilly, and it's making you a better person, a better man right now. So we're demonstrating the value of iron sharpening iron. And I thank you very much, Juan. It was really well put. So in closing, I just want to say, just allow yourself to be the lion for your lioness. You have to look at it that way. You're the lion, she's the lioness. And if you look at it from that perspective, and when you approach your lady, always approach her with a mindset of love. Like I said before, the 3 things you got to remember when you're interacting with your lady: love her, and love her. It's a mindset. I guarantee you the responses will be much more rewarding, much more healthy, and you will build a better relationship with her if you do that. It's going to be difficult sometimes. Sure, you're going to, some things, everybody gets on each other's nerves. But she's your woman. She's your one. She's your better half. And you want to make sure she feels that way. And the best way for that to be part of the conversation, the ongoing conversation that you have with her, is to always approach her from a point of love, from a standpoint of love. So, I'm open for comments, questions. How about some more comments there? You guys out there still? You still awake? Or did you fall asleep? Match Guarantee says, guys, please vote for our second poll. Deanna, we put that second poll up, right? So, any comments? Come on, guys. Take the lead. There we go. Doc Killjoy. Yet at the same, you cannot see her, set her up for failure. Absolutely. Make corrective changes. Make it positive for all affected. If you watch two people, a man and a woman, dancing, say the tango, for example, that's exactly what you're talking about. You cannot set her up for failure. You've got to take the lead and know what you're doing. And the only way that can happen is to be competent. And if you want to become more competent, if you want to become more confident, if you want to become more masculine, let the guys iron, sharpen iron. Stay with that. If you don't take anything from this today, at least think of that concept. Okay, N says, don't forget to love yourself first. Absolutely. If you love yourself, you will love everyone around you with honesty. And, to add to that a little bit, other people will be, especially Ukrainian women, they're going to sense whether you love yourself or not. They're so in tune with their own femininity, which is intuitive and creative in nature, that they're going to sense it. You can't hide it. So absolutely love yourself first. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to go, man. All of you guys are probably outstanding in your fields and great guys and all that. So why not love yourselves? Juan says, I would want my woman to feel she got the best man. Absolutely. I believe women have a hive mind, if you will. Hive mind, interesting. If she sees that other women take an interest in you, she will want you more. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. In fact, there's no woman that isn't proud, that isn't loving of her guy, that doesn't do that. And you can see that. You can watch, take some time and watch your friends, especially if you have married friends, watch their interaction. Watch what happens. Any other questions or comments? This has been a really great. Well, for me, this has been really great. But I'm hoping that you guys have enjoyed this too. Oh yeah, don't forget to vote for the second poll. We're really excited about this. Juan says a woman doesn't want to love a man if she feels she's settled. Absolutely. Or believes other women wouldn't want that man, and vice versa. Don't you guys settle either. State in your mind or on paper if you need to exactly what you want in a woman, exactly the kind of woman you want, and stay with it. You deserve it. This is why you're here. We're not here to settle. We don't need to settle. We're lions, right? You have to keep that in mind. You're the guy. There's no reason for you to settle. You're the initiator. You're the leader. You're the one that has a life goal. You're the one that has a life drive. And that's what you want to show her. Because if you don't have that, she's going to wonder. And in some cases, she might even take the reins. I'm not saying they're incompetent or that's wrong. I'm saying it's a much healthier position for you to be strong and to be masculine and to be able to say, okay, this is the direction we need to go. And here's why. They're not going to question that if you're confident. They're not going to question that if you're a true leader. And again, whether you think you're leading or not, you are. What? I love that. That's a great name. Let's face it. Men and women think differently because our brains are wired differently. Absolutely. And you know what? Thank God. Otherwise, how much fun would it be if everybody thought the same? It would be horrible. Conversations would all sound the same. There wouldn't be an exchange of ideas. That tension between the push pull between a man and a woman is a beautiful thing. You just have to learn how to let her strengths into the relationships, and you cover her weaknesses with your strengths, just as she covers your weaknesses with her strengths. You put those two together and you develop your modus operandi. You're untouchable. Trust me. That's the best place you want to be. Not only is that healthy, but it's a place to grow. It'll actually turbocharge your relationship. I mean, there's you and there's your girl separate, but then there's you and your girl together. So there's really three relationships going on, and all three have to be fed. Wow. What? Not just that. Combativeness and arguments 24/7 wouldn't be a great relationship. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about when I say don't fight the problem. Because when you lock horns, all it does is break things down. Nothing develops out of it. In fact, I dare say that what does develop out of it is that you end up with a whole bunch of baggage that you don't need. Almost like with an American woman. Yeah. I hope there's no American women watching this right now, but yeah, it's true. And I dare say other cultures as well. I'm very fortunate in being able to talk to guys from all over the world, and all of you would be very interested to see how similar the comments are regarding the women from their country. Again, I hope you're voting on the second poll. It's important for us. We are reaching out to you, and sincerely, and we really want to create a beautiful community here. Porfirio. Wow, that's a tough name. Thank you for your comment. I know what I'm looking for in a woman. Excellent. I'm praying for a godly woman who loves God first and me. You will find her. Trust me, my friend. If your heart is open, your mind is clear, and your actions, your ideals are in alignment with God, He will bless you. There's no two ways about it. No doubt in my mind. And great comment, by the way. Appreciate that. Wow, it's already been 58 minutes. Are you guys bored? Bill says, most Ukrainian women fit your needs. I think they will not only meet your needs, if you clearly state your needs, they will develop a way to meet those needs. Because I firmly believe that a Ukrainian woman her man is the first relationship, the most important relationship in her life. And for a lot of you out there that have ex-wives or whatever, or have moms or sisters that have babies, once a woman becomes a mom, it's difficult for her to separate her relationship or put a priority on her relationship with her man. From what I've personally seen, it's easier for Ukrainian women. It seems more natural to them to put the relationship with her man above all others. And that right there is worth it all right there. That's enough right there. So thank you, Bill. Appreciate that one. Well, there we go. Eric, the number one thing I see when men are dating is they don't wear the pants. Yeah, because we've been taught that, it's not natural for us. Just as it's not natural for a woman to take a risk, and that's I'm just making a statement here. It's not natural for a man to let the woman make all the choices. And to be honest with you, it's out of balance. Fact of the matter is that the man should make decisions where it's his expertise in his area, just as the woman should make decisions in a relationship where it's her expertise in her area. The key is for the two to define what that means. You can't just take some template off the shelf. You have to work at it. And you have to say, okay, honey, these are the areas I need your input on. These are the areas I'm going to give you my input, and then put it in balance. Again, we go back to the balance. Relationship is all about balance. Once it's out of balance, it's like trying to drive a car with 3 wheels. It's never going to work. So the number one, oh yeah. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Have you heard about our new channel, UkraineDating.tv, where we have beautiful Ukrainian ladies live streaming every single day, and you can video chat with them, and it's completely free. And there's some examples from previous video. You can check it, but at UkraineDating.com TV. I'm sorry, .tv. UkraineDating.tv. My screen's a little bit screwy right now, so that's it for today, fellas. I hope that you voted in the poll. We are really interested to see how you're responding to this. Oh, Dana, can we put the... Oh, here we go. So, would you like to have a community of healthy male models and supportive menships and help you grow? 63% yes, 37% no. I hope the 37% of you that say no, it's because you're already in one. If you're not in one, we would love to have you. And the 63% that agreed, I can't wait to work with you. Would you like to have a community of healthy? Oh yeah, okay. So that's 59% says yes and 40% says no. That's interesting. It went from 63 to 49 or 59. Here we go. I think I'll go with the 63%. I like that better. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your voting on the poll, and I look forward to. It's my pleasure to give you guys time. This actually, I'm more blessed from you guys, I think. Thank you, Doc. I believe it's a great discussion too. The only easy day was yesterday. Well said. Well said. Especially if it was a bad day. Thanks for the humor there, by the way. Well, Eric says, have a great rest of the stream. Just got to go to church. Thanks. Very good. Great. Thank you for the well wish. We're pretty much over here, so my pleasure, Alan. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and thank you for voting on the poll. I think we're gonna end here because it's been an hour, and you guys are still awake. That's good. Thanks again, and you all have a great week, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.